President Nixon ordered the Army to go into New York City and to get the mail moving, and said if necessary he would do the same in other cities. While some of the strikers have gone back to work, others have gone out, and the net effect is that fewer postal employees are working tonight than last night. The biggest post office of all, New York City, is entirely closed down. 97% of its employees are out. Congress is talking tonight of voting a pay increase bigger than originally planned, since it is generally agreed that post office workers are underpaid, but it has not happened yet. The union president says 3 cities' unions have agreed to go back to work tomorrow morning, to work 5 days only, and then, if they don't get satisfaction, to call a general national postal strike, asking other unions to support them. The president went on television this afternoon for a short speech.
I have just now directed the activation of the men of the various military organizations to begin in New York City the restoration of essential mail services. New York City is where the current illegal stoppages began. It is where the mail has been halted the longest, and it is where the resultant problems have become most acute. If the Postmaster General deems it necessary to act in other affected major cities, I will not hesitate to act. These replacements are being sent in as a supplemental workforce to maintain essential services. Only as many workers as are necessary to accomplish that will be used, and they will be withdrawn as the striking postal workers return to their jobs. From the time I came to Congress 23 years ago, I have recognized that the hundreds of thousands of fine Americans in the mail service, the post office department, are underpaid, and they have other legitimate grievances. For the past year, almost since the day we took office, both the Postmaster General and I have been working to alleviate not only the legitimate grievances of postal workers, but to move to eliminate the source of those grievances. That is, the obsolete postal system itself, a system that no longer serves its employees, its customers, or the country as it should. So my remarks at this time are addressed to all Americans. What has occurred here is that some employees of the federal government are now not only going against the best interest and the best tradition of their service, but against the recommendations of their national union leaders, against the oath of office that they took, against orders handed down by the federal courts. And they are cutting off service essential to thousands, millions of Americans. What is at issue then is the survival of a government based upon law. Essential services must be maintained. And as president, I shall meet my constitutional responsibility to see that those services are maintained. And I'm asking for the understanding and support of every American in this decision that I have made in behalf of our country.
Everyone was careful to explain that troops in the New York Post Office will move the mail and do some sorting, but will not work as letter carriers. They will not deliver any mail around town. And they will happily get out of the mail business as soon as the strikers return. Chet?
James Rademacher, national president of the letter carriers, asked that his men call off their picketing wherever picket lines still exist, and he told them to cross picket lines if they had to in order to get back to work. In at least 3 major cities, though, there were indications that the strikers intend to stand fast.
Last Saturday, I pledged to the nation that if the current situation existed on Monday, today, that I would take action to fulfill my constitutional obligation to move the mails. And I am taking that action now.
At this time, we take the position, the rank and file, the people that are out in the street, the people that carry the bags, the people that sort the mail, that it's up to Congress to give us something, show us good faith, put something on the table, something that we can address ourselves to. We are all loyal. Americans willing to go back to work, happy to go back to work. But we will not be coerced by troops.
We want to go back to work, but we don't want to go back under collective begging. We want to go back under collective bargaining.
It's a bad thing to call troops in for a labor problem, and it sets a bad precedent, and I'm terribly disappointed in it.
Personally, I don't believe the troops can get the mail moving. Can you imagine instead of having a letter carrier deliver the mail, having a guy with a bayonet walk into an office building? It's going from the ridiculous to the sublime. Boy, the carriers are the heartland of America. It's terrible.
In Chicago, there was little reaction in the main post office itself because there were very few people around to react. 31,000 postal workers were off the job today, outside and inside. Mail isn't piling up now because none comes in anymore. Supervisors and department heads are doing the work of those who usually sort the mail, and for them it is unfamiliar work. Across the street, postal workers who weren't picketing gathered at a union hall to hear the president's speech.
I'm asking for the understanding and support of every American. This decision that I have made in behalf of our country.
Right on, we're going to keep going. We're going back to work.
In Los Angeles, a union voted last night to go out, but only 25% of postal workers were out today, standing picket lines and listening to the president's speech. Those who stayed at work were enough to do the job, so the mail in Los Angeles was moving smoothly today.
This decision that I have made in behalf of our country.
Here's a man who knows that we're in the pain, but still, he can give himself a 100% raise. Congress can give itself a 41% raise, but we can't have nothing. You understand?
People that change these light bulbs can get more money than we do. They bring home more money each month than we do. So, I can't see why we shouldn't get our money.
I think what in essence he said was, you go back to work or else you may jeopardize your job when I send in the troops to replace you. He said nothing about the possibility that he might not veto a pay increase. That is the one thing I wanted to hear. I think that's what most of us wanted to hear.
Promises, promises, promises. Nothing's happening.
Well, I don't think the people will go back to work until some kind of negotiations will reach some kind of agreement because they're sick of this.
Are you going to go back to work?
No.